Okay, so we get to review order of operations today. We're going to be practicing it this week before we move on to our algebra unit. So we're going to start talking about variables, things like that. But before we do, it's important to know and remember the steps for solving problems in a specific order. Okay, so before we start, order is important. We always work left to right. So we're always going to work left to right. There is a specific order to go in, and we call it PEMDAS. Sometimes, as you continue advancing through different math classes, that P will change to a G to represent all types of grouping. So right now we look at it as just parentheses, but sometimes you can have these things that we call brackets, and sometimes you have these funny little things that we call braces. So your numbers can then be grouped within groups. So it's important to know that that P will change to a G eventually. And some people even introduce it with a G, meaning groupings. So however numbers are grouped together, you want to look for those first, and that's what you want to solve first. So just for today, we're going to go ahead and stick with the P. So I'm going to write parentheses for P in PEMDAS. The X stands for exponents. We won't work a ton of problems with exponents in 5th grade, but when you get to 6th grade math, you will see a lot more of it because you'll be working a lot more with exponents just in general. So you'll have to know your rules of order of operations in order to solve problems that have exponents. So you'll want to do any exponents after you solve anything within parentheses first. Okay, after we solve everything with exponents, then we get to the multiply or divide. Notice that it says multiply or divide. Why do you think it says or? Because that's important.
I don't know. Wait, what did you say?
Why do you think the word or is between multiply and divide? Why do you think it's there?
Because it won't matter, like when you're doing it.
It actually does matter. So it's multiply or divide, whatever comes first, because I always work what order? Left to right. So if division, even though it's listed second in my acronym, if division comes first in a problem, reading it left to right, then I divide first. We're going to do a lot of practice with this here in a little bit so that you can see what I'm talking about. But we don't always necessarily multiply then divide every single time. It depends on whatever comes first in my problem. Okay, after I divide, I'm then down to the next part, which is add or subtract. Now notice again that word or. Okay, so the word or is telling me that I'm not always going to add first. I might subtract first depending on which operation comes first. So it's either adding or subtracting, whatever comes first in order from left to right. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples on our paper. I have 3 plus 7 times 6 divided by 3.
10 times 6.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look to see, do I have any parentheses first? If I don't, I go down to the next letter in the order of operations, E. Do I have any exponents to solve? Okay, now I go down to M or D, whatever comes first. Which one comes first? The multiply comes first. So I have this. I need to solve that part first. So I'm going to solve 7 times 6, which is 42. And I'm going to bring everything else that I have not done down. Okay. Order of operations. I'm going in the order of operations. Okay, I've done my multiply. I'm still here at the multiply and the divide part. See how I'm color coding? I didn't have any red parentheses. I made my exponents orange. I didn't have any exponents anywhere. I'm in the section that says multiply or divide. and I'm working it left to right, whatever comes first. So out of the problem that I have left, will I add first or will I divide? I'm going to divide because of the order of operations. So I'm going to divide 42 divided by 3, which is 14. Bring down what I haven't used yet. So I have 3 plus 14 left to solve. Okay, moving down my list of PEMDAS, what comes next? Well, what do I have left? Add, that's it. So if this is all I have left, then I'm going to solve for that part, which gives me my final answer of 17. Notice how this makes like a slice of pizza almost, or like a funnel. Every single problem that we do should be in that same shape because you're funneling it down, okay? I ask students and have you guys show every single step. We're going to do a lot of practice with this and with our whiteboards in a minute. But you have to show every single step because on your practice pages, I don't just count this as one problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. Your answer is a problem. I'm looking for each and every step. So if you just do all of this in your head and you maybe go out of order because you forget PEMDAS and you say 3 plus 7, I'm just going to go left to right completely and ignore my rules of order of operations. I'm going to do 3 plus 7 is 10 times 6 is 60 divided by 3 is 20. And you just write 20 on your paper and don't show any work. It's not -1, it's -3 because you should have this and this and this. Okay, does everybody understand what I'm looking? Okay, all right, let's look at the next one. The next one, I do have some parentheses. So I'm going to do parentheses first. What is the answer of just the parentheses? 24. And then I'm going to bring everything else down. Okay, now do I have any exponents? I don't have any more parentheses, so I go down my list. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have any multiplication or division?
Yes.
What do I have? I have division. So I'm going to divide 24 divided by 3, which is 8. Bring everything else down. Now I'm going to do what? Add or subtract? Subtract, because I go left to right. So I'm going to do 8 minus 6, which is 2. And then the very last step is to add 2 plus 2, which is 4. Again, notice my slice of pizza shape here. Okay, last one. This time, I do have some exponents. So I'm going to do 2 to the second power. What does that mean? It actually means 2 times 2. But this exponent doesn't always mean times 2. If the 2 was over here instead, it would mean 3 times itself 2 different times. So it would be 3 times 3. That 2 tells you how many 2's to multiply. Or if the exponent 2 was over here, it would tell you how many 3's to multiply. You would have to multiply 2 3's. Okay? So notice, like up on the number line above the whiteboard, how those exponents change. So if I have 10 to the third power, the exponent 3 tells you how many 10's to multiply. It would be 10 times 10 times 10, not 10 times 3, which is 30. Do y'all understand the difference between what that exponent's meaning? Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and solve 2 to the second power, which means 2 times 2. So in this case, it is 4, and bring everything else down. So then I have 4 times 9 divided by 3. Now, do I always divide or multiply first, or do I just go left to right, whatever comes first? Left to right. So 4 times 9 is 36. And then divide by 3 is 12. Okay, down here where I have PEMDAS written a whole bunch of times, there is a saying that most people are taught whenever they learn order of operations, and it is called, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So what does the P stand for? Parentheses. The E stands for exponents. M is multiply. D is divide. A is add, and S is subtract. That saying just helps you remember please, P for please, parentheses, excuse, E for exponents, my, M for multiply, dear, D for divide, aunt, A for add, Sally, S for subtract. Okay, we're going to do a lot of practice. So I want you to put away your pencil or whatever you're using to take notes. Leave your notes open, but put your pencil, anything else that you have out, away. All you need is your journal. And take a whiteboard, a dry eraser. Well, take out both dry erasers, and then everybody will need a dry erase marker.